met. Could you but see the eyes inside your own, the minds in your mind, you would see how much we share.
Hey, Jarek here, and I really like source mods. They're like my comfort food of gaming. The game is familiar, but it's new and different. And we got a big one today, Swelter, made by the same mods that made Snowdrop Escape, which I didn't really like. It's not like I wanted to dislike it, I just didn't like the end result and found it kind of tedious and annoying. Thankfully, Swelter is a really good mod. For starters, Swelter is already on Steam, so it's very easy to install. It will take you roughly 2 to 4 hours to beat, depending on how much you're taking your time. It's a complete overhaul mod with new mechanics and an entirely new story. I'm not going to give you any spoilers for the story, I'll just give you the setup. Before we continue, I need to thank today's sponsor, Into the AM. Yeah, you've heard it before, but it's still worth it. If you haven't got one of these shirts, or any of their clothes, they're really high quality. And if you already have one of their shirts, well, they're constantly releasing new designs. Here's 3 I just got recently. Their clothes are incredibly soft, they stretch, they don't rip, they're rather durable, and they look good. Into the AM is constantly having bundle deals on their website, so look out for those. But if you don't really care and you just want to buy stuff, then you can get 10% off site-wide by using my link, intotheam.com/dragonshirts. And again, they sell more than shirts, that's just the link. So huge thanks to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. Now let's go back to Swelter. Swelter takes place in Central Asia, which is really interesting because we haven't seen this part of the world in Half-Life before. The concept of the story is that the rebels over in Europe do not agree with the rebels in Central Asia. This ultimately led to a falling out, and you need to make amends. Like I said, I'm only going to give you the setup, I don't want to explain the entire story throughout the mod. A lot more happens than just that. As for production quality, the voice acting isn't terrible. It's not great, honestly, but it's not so bad that it pulled me out of the game. Most mods have much worse voice acting.
This is an industrial site. Outsiders are not allowed to be here, especially in times like this. Leave and don't attract any more attention to yourself. You understand? Now go!
The actual voice lines were kind of quiet compared to the rest of the game, though. I could still hear them, and there was subtitles, so it's not that big of a deal, but it could be balanced a little better. You also start this game by jumping off a moving train and predictably getting a concussion in the silliest way possible. What is going on? Well, that's one way to start the game. Throughout the course of the game, this will occasionally give you a severe case of the Far Cry 2s. Then this bitch just acts like you're being lazy.
You moron! Why haven't you been reporting on your mission? Why haven't you come to safe houses? I've had a hard time infiltrating and finding you here.
Hate this character. Graphically, Swelter is a really good looking mod. Now this runs on the episode 2 version of the source engine, and for that version of the source engine, yeah, this is great. Swelter was able to make a fitting atmosphere that just made me want to explore the environment. Also for a mod, the lighting is really good. Now, one of the biggest complaints I had about their previous mod, Snowdrop Escape, is that I did not like the puzzles. I found them tedious and way too frequent. Thankfully, I didn't have this problem at all when it comes to Swelter. These puzzles are actually good. There's plenty of signposting so you know the direction you should be looking, but it never feels like the game is telling you exactly what to do. They definitely learned from their previous project. Usually, if I got stuck at a puzzle, it didn't feel like the game was being cryptic and dumb, it felt like I just didn't see something and I was being oblivious. As I've always said, a good puzzle makes you feel like an idiot when you find the solution, instead of blaming the game. That said, I did get stuck twice, and I felt like in these 2 times it wasn't my fault. You're in the metro, and you need to figure out how to open this gate. This door doesn't open, but the door to your left does. Through here, the gate is slightly broken open. You can't push it with your gravity gun thing, and there's nothing in here. Now this feels like forward progress, so I spent a lot of time in this room trying to figure out what the hell to do. Eventually, I found a fuse in the other room, and then I went right back into this room trying to find out where to put it. Yeah, this room is pointless. It has nothing to do with the solution to the puzzle. You never go back into that room. Why can I open the door? That's just leading me the wrong way. What you're actually supposed to do is go back to the main room, use the train that drives in after you see the puzzle, connect that to this power source, turn that on, and then replace the fuse out here. Again, why does this door open? It leads us the wrong way. And it's not just me. One of my viewers came into my chat and said he got stuck for a good 15 minutes before giving up and looking up a walkthrough, and he thought the same thing. He thought you had to go into this room. An easy solution is don't let us go into that room if there's no purpose to it. The other time I got stuck is that they changed a base mechanic we had seen in Half-Life 2 for like almost 2 decades now. Jesus, Half-Life 2 is going to be 20 years old next year. Anyway, you know those turrets that come out of the ground where you throw grenades into them? Yeah, well, instead they chose one moment where there's 3 of these turrets and you have to throw grenades into a vent next to the turrets with a red light. The thing is, they don't introduce this gradually, they introduce it with 3 turrets in 3 different directions, and no one's going to step out into a hail of bullets to figure out where to throw a grenade if they already think they know where to throw it. So yeah, really not a big fan of changing baseline Half-Life 2 mechanics that everyone knows the answer to, but then you suddenly don't. If you do, you have to reintroduce that mechanic in a simple way rather than throwing them all in. Other than that, that's it. That's the only 2 times I got stuck in the whole game. Every other puzzle, and there's quite a few of them, felt smooth, not tedious, didn't take up too much time, had good pacing too. Now we move on to what you want to know about, the gunplay. And as you probably have noticed, these weapons look great and they're animated well. They even have empty and non-empty reloads and the ability to put +1 in the chamber. Familiar Half-Life 2 weapons come back like the pistol, but again they're entirely reanimated with an empty and non-empty reload, and this mod lets you aim down sights.
Oh my god, they added a DS, what fucking bullshit. This game is basically Call of Duty now. Why would you ruin Half-Life like that? This is such garbage.
Half-Life 2 purists, when you mention ADS and a mod. The SPAS 12 got reworked a little bit. The animations, of course, changed, and they look quite good now, but the split function will fire 2 shots rapidly instead of 2 at the same time. This makes a little more sense, like you momentarily turn the SPAS to semi-auto, but it's fine. I'm fine with it. The AR2 comes back with new animations and whatnot, but now when you use the split function, you need to reload it. That's pretty neat. I'm totally fine with this. As for the rest of the weapons in the game, most of them are entirely new, but they fit the location in Central Asia. For example, finding an AK in a post-Soviet bunker. There's an achievement for this, by the way. It's underneath these stairs. You'll need to get the key. It's just around the corner on the desk. That's the only place you can find this AK, so don't miss it. There's a lot of other guns, but I think you get my point. The gunplay is rather satisfying and definitely a step up from base Half-Life 2. As for new enemies, the Bull Squids are back. How's it going, buddy? He didn't like it. Like, I was just trying to be friendly and play with the wildlife. This mod has 3 chapters, though these chapters are rather long. The first chapter is City 545. This is the City 17 introduction section of the mod, but it gets to the action much faster than Half-Life 2. There's even a section that I swear is a throwback to the Half-Life 2 mod, Underhell. This is basically that one moment from Underhell. Like, I'm not insane, right? These are very similar. Chapter 2, Steppe. This is the vehicle section, and they nailed it. One of the things Half-Life 2 was very good at was giving you this sense of exploration when you're driving vehicles, even though the map itself was very linear. At any point, you could stop and get out of your vehicle and explore that barn back there. I got the same feeling when I played this chapter. I was constantly wanting to stop and explore the buildings around me. This is also easily the best looking chapter in the game, and one of the best looking mods I've ever seen. This level reminded me a lot of the Caspian section in Metro Exodus. In fact, a lot of this game reminded me of Metro. It had the same sort of energy and vibe. Like, I know just being in a Metro is not enough to say it reminds me of Metro Exodus, but just look at this part. You're in a dark subway tunnel, exposition is being dumped to you, you're on a makeshift train car. It feels very Metro-like in this sense, and it captured that sort of exploration feel during the Caspian level. This mod extra encourages you to explore by rewarding you with things like the most chill Vortigaunt you'll ever see.
Could you but see the eyes inside your own, the minds in your mind, you would see how much we share.
I love this mod. What did he come back to? It was just the friendliest alien of all time. I don't see the problem here. Everyone knows Vortigaunts are chill. Chapter 3, Incandescence. This is the ending where you're mostly fighting the Combine. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll leave it at that. it's a pretty fun chapter. I will spoil one thing just because I feel like briefly ranting, so spoiler warning. I'll put a chapter so you can skip forward if you don't want to be spoiled. This mod was mostly flawless until one part. This stupid drone fight. There is an absurd amount of effects going over the screen, lots of film grain, it's hard to see what you're even doing. You are physically in that plane and you're controlling the drone. Well, not really, you're not actually controlling the drone, you're just on a rail trying to shoot the gunship. Your ship can only take a certain amount of shots, and it's really difficult to actually shoot this gunship. Whenever the drone turns, it forces your aim to turn with it. You need to lead with the rockets, but it's hard to see anything because of the film grain, and sometimes the rockets just go off in a random direction anyway. The pilot keeps flying under your ship to block your shots to the enemy, and you can damage yourself, and you need to kill the enemy before it kills you, but you have to wait till you have a better shot, and you need to do all this before you die. Being unable to aim, having no control where the pilot is flying while you're on a limited time limit is just annoying. Yeah, this part sucked. It was bad. There's no other way to sugarcoat that. It was just awful. Thankfully, this mod redeems itself with the bonus level, a weird portal level. Apparently this was part of a portal mod that was in development but ultimately got cancelled. They thought this section was interesting enough to share, so here it is. And yeah, it is. It genuinely feels like Portal with guns. It's pretty fun. It's very short though, as you would expect from a bonus level. And the secondary bonus level is just a shooting range. Thank God, I love it when games do this. It makes filming so much easier. I ever need to record a gun, I can just go to the shooting range and record it. I ever need to set up my audio before stream without spoiling anything for myself, just go there. Also, it gives you the ability to figure out how the guns work before you get into the game, or if you just need to understand something. So, big fan of shooting ranges in games. And that's it. That's the mod. As of right now, it's a frontrunner for Mod of the Year. It's particularly good, and I would highly recommend. It's free. It's a mod. It's on Steam. No effort to download it. Just one click. Now you're playing a mod. Hey, huge thanks to my channel members. They get to see my videos early and get weekly shoutouts. Also, it just, means a lot to me. Also, big thanks to everyone that joined me over on Twitch. It's real fun to stream Half-Life 2 mods. I'm already familiar with Half-Life 2, but it's still a new experience. If you click the link in the bottom right and follow my Twitch, we can hang out sometime in the future. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, if that's your thing, my tag is JarekTheGamingDragon. You can see it there in the bottom left. Huge thanks to all of you for watching. I'll see you next time.